It is 26 minutes after the hour here on the Girard at Large Radio Show, and we're pleased to be in studio with someone who's become an old friend of the show. We're getting old this show. We're 5.5 years old now. Wow. And were it not for a member of our large and loyal listening audience, I never would have heard of Camp Constitution or Hal Shurtleff, who is its executive director. And because of that large and loyal listener, thanks to Deb in Manchester, we have had the opportunity not just to showcase them here on the radio show, but to happily send our kids off to Camp Constitution in each of the last 3 years, including this one coming.
That's right.
And it's been a terrific experience for the kids, so much so. Now, my son, I'm proud to say, is off to the St. Paul's School Advanced Studies program this summer. And when I was talking to him about applying, because, he came home from school with the stuff, and, one of the things he said, but Dad, I'll miss Camp Constitution. And I said, son, Camp Constitution is a wonderful thing. I said, but St. Paul's School is having been through it myself,
sure.
That advanced studies program, I said, that's something you don't miss. Now, I've never told my son ever that he has to do something or he has to go somewhere. I've pretty much always, given him the pros and cons when he's asked for them and let him make his own mind. But I looked at him and I said, you will apply to St. Paul's, and if you get in, you will go. And that's really not a discussion point, and you'll thank me later.
That's right, yeah.
So that's how much he liked Camp Constitution.
Well, he's a very remarkable young man, and he'll definitely be missed this year.
Yes, well, my two daughters will be there, and happily so. So, Hal, welcome back.
Well, thanks for having me on. I think last time it was in January, and it was pretty cold out, a lot of snow on the ground, and now it's a little still cold, but it's not as bad.
Yeah, well, spring weather in New Hampshire, what can you do? It's 70 degrees, 80 degrees, plus, 3 weeks ago, and now we're back to 40s and
that's right.
50s in May. So, Hal, a little bit about yourself personally and professionally, and then we'll get on to talk about Camp Constitution.
As of February, I became the full-time director of Camp Constitution. Born and raised and still reside in Boston, Massachusetts. Married with 5 children, and we are a homeschooling family. And
so you made it up from Boston this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there you go.
It's not so bad when you're leaving at 4:30 in the morning.
But it's 4:30 in the morning, and I know what that's like.
I'm kind of a night person anyway, but it's well worth the ride up here. So,
well, thank you.
And we started this camp in December of 2008, when there was another program that I was involved with. It was a sort of a national program, and I was in charge of the Northeast camp, and it was sort of abruptly canceled. So I called a few friends. I said, hey, would you want to pursue this independently? And they agreed, and that was the birth of Camp Constitution. And we've held our camps, a week-long family camp in Ringe, New Hampshire, at the Toenippee Christian Retreat Center since 2009. And every year we grow in numbers. But starting off with a summer camp, we decided to do some publishing some things that were out of print, some things that we could use for our own classes and make available to others. We started to do some homeschool shows to not just to attract people to the camp, but also as an outreach. It's interesting how as little people
as a way of providing materials to
that's
homeschoolers.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, how little people know about the Constitution. Now, homeschoolers tend to be more than a few notches above the average student.
Right.
But even in the homeschool community, if the parents aren't that well-known and well-read on the Constitution, there's probably a good chance that their children aren't. I mean, if the dad's an engineer and the mom might be a scientist, they're probably going to be good in science and math. But when it comes to the Constitution, maybe not so much.
Right.
And we also have information tables at fairs, and we do the Cheshire Fair. And since I'm doing this full time, we've expanded outreach. We hope to start other camps around the country. Mm-hmm. We do a radio show. We also have something on our website.
You do a radio show.
I do. I know. I'm not competing with you. It's a shortwave station.
No. I'm glad to hear that. I'll have something to say to you during the break.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we've had it on for about 2 years now. One half hour a week. And then we put a lot of our material on a lot of the shows. We upload on Facebook and so forth. I'm at Facebook, but YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, and people who want to learn more about the camp can go to Camp Constitution YouTube, and you could see some of the classes we've had over the years and some of the outreach events we do during the course of the year. And we started a speakers bureau. We had a gentleman here back in January who was part of that, or at least we put him on the speakers bureau, Robert Brown, speaking on the Article 5 issue.
Oh, yes.
Reverend Stevie Kraft, who's one of our he's one of our instructors, and we're going to have him up in the Boston area to give interesting presentations, Color, Communism, and Common Sense.
Color, Communism, and Common Sense.
It was a title of a book that was published in 1958. We put it back in print. And it was written by a former communist who happened to be a black man. And he had joined the party. He had rejected the faith that he was raised in and at that time. And he thought that the Communist Party was going to advance the black Americans. And he realized that the communists were the enemy of black Americans. So we see that there's been, especially in cities where there's been a drive to promote race hatred. Let's put it that way. And it's a nasty business. So Reverend Stevie Kraft, his ministry is reconciliation and so forth. So we're going to be in the black community too. So that should be very interesting, right in the Mattapan section of Boston. And we have other speakers. If you visit our website, you could see the number of people we have. Probably about a dozen or so, 8 or 9 speakers, and we add to that all the time. So we're kind of excited about the opportunities. Saturday, I'm a guest speaker at the New Hampshire Sons of the American Revolution, which is their annual luncheon. So I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Didn't know there was such a group.
Oh, well, I happen to be a member of that, too. It's a national group, yeah. We have to have an ancestor that was a direct ancestor that fought or was in the American Revolutionary War.
So your ancestry goes way back.
It does, yeah, 1600s. Yeah.
1600s. Wow,
yeah.
that's kind of cool. Well, we'll have to introduce them to the radio show here, the audience.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Have them on because we always hear of the daughters of the American Revolution,
yeah,
but we never hear of the sons
of the American Revolution. Oh, they even have the car, children of the American Revolution.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So
the women get all the attention.
Anyway, well, they're hardworking ladies, and they're responsible for. They've restored a lot of historical places around the country. So they're incredible people.
Yeah.
Anyway, this year's camp runs from July 2nd to the 9th at the Toa-Nippie Christian Retreat Center, where we've had it since 2009. And we've got a really great lineup. Now, I'll give you what do we do at camp? Well, we have our share of classes. We have a lot of recreational opportunities and campfire and a lot of things that people do at camps in general. We usually, a typical day starts off at 6:30 at an optional run and a swim, and then wake up it's at 7. Flagpole, we read morning devotions from the Bible and raise the flag and salute the flag. 3 classes in the morning, all 50 minutes long, and plenty of time in between to stretch your legs.
Now, the readings that you do from the Bible, is this non-denominational?
Oh, it's non-denominational, yes.
I'm assuming it's required that kids be there for the flag raising.
Yes. They're all there for the flag raising. So it's a very well-structured day, and but the week goes by so quickly. It's people, will tell us, "Gee, why can't we do it for 2 weeks?" I says, "Well, we can. We just need more people involved, and we can do it for 2 weeks. We can have a whole summer session. We can even, if someone wants to donate a camp to us, we'll be happy to accept it, and we'll have a year-round session." See?
Well, it kind of brings up a question. How do you raise funds for this? Is it strictly from the fees paid by the campers, or
no. We have some supporters that fund us. Some people do it on a monthly basis. We have a PayPal account, and people say, "Hey, like what we do, we can give you $5 a month, $10 a month." We have some people, of course, that are a little bit more than that to help justify my existence as a full-time person. So that's how we're funded. We do have a sponsors page. We because you help us all the time, so it's a barter here. But if you're a business and you own a business and would like to help us out, and we'll put you up on the sponsors page, and for a donation of a minimum of $100 a year, you're there. And what's interesting too, lots of parents, adults, especially older people, grandparents will rightfully lament. They will say, "Boy, the kids today, they don't know civics, they don't know history, and they're really concerned." And when 30% of the 80% of the people 30 and under supported Hillary or Bernie, we got a serious problem. And I'll say, well, that's one of the main reasons why we created Camp Constitution. And it's a little entity. It's not going to take on the world, but I think we've made a profound impact just in the years that we've been around.
Well, it strikes me. I was thinking about this too. I don't know why this thought popped in my head, but it's hard to be proud of your country, which I don't think many millennials and younger are. But it's hard to be proud of your country when you don't know your
That's right.
your history,
That's
your
right.
heritage, your what makes you different than everybody else, and that is an area where we have woefully failed. And that's civics education. It bothers me, and it always has bothered me, this emphasis on STEM, right? The science, technology, engineering, and math, because technology has so invaded, if not taken over our lives, that everyone's like, oh, STEM is the wave of the future. Well, that may be from certain career points of view, but through it all, and I see it every day in the work that I do, people are growing more and more illiterate, less and less able to use the English language. Their capabilities of understanding and communication, for all the emphasis on the 4 C's of Common Core, are shrinking. Their capabilities are dying. And I would say, though, the single biggest flaw that we have in the country today is the absolutely awful way in which we teach or not teach our history, and everything that comes with it. Now, you can't teach the founding fathers because they were all slaveholders. Yeah, well, first of all, no, they weren't, and second of all, many of the ones that owned slaves were, as Curly would say, victims of circumstance.
That's right.
Many of them fought slavery, and we have completely thrown out the enormous challenges that the founders had to deal with to create the country.
That's right.
And what the issues facing them there, and what the choices they made were, and why they were that way, and why it was really, when you look back at it, probably the only way that that the colonies were going to become a country and become what we ultimately became.
Well, one of the things because we teach about the Constitution, we do have courses on America's godly heritage, which I think